Welcome into day number 3 of Aaron Rodgers Watch What Is Going On. I am Matt O'Leary, going to be hanging out with you for the next little bit here. I said the same thing the last 2 days and was on for 2 hours. So who knows how long we'll be on today. It is, as we said, day 3, and there are some new things that we could be talking about on the program today. The most recent one, the big one, and we'll get into your comments, all the big stuff right now. But the biggest thing is this from Tom Pelissero. The Jets have worked through the compensation and contract for Aaron Rodgers. It's up to him to let them know and to let them and the Packers know what he wants to do. Mike Garafolo said Jets won't rush Rodgers. Well, they might have to have a little bit of a rush because you can't be going into next week with this same problem of saying, who's the quarterback? You're going to go into the legal tampering period next week and say, we still have no idea who the quarterback is going into the season. That is something that I just cannot justify the Jets doing. I think they find a way for everything to get ironed out either today or going into tomorrow. It's going to be a busy couple of days here. And now we are on, as I said, day 3 of this. Can you believe it? Unreal. I love this one. This was in the Green Bean. If you missed Green Bean stream, it was just me, Ryan, as well. And Green Bean, we're hopping on there for the last little bit. I'm just going to lower this down for a second. I got the phone's blowing up too much. We got to have, actually, I probably shouldn't mute the phone. That would be a bad idea. I have the dog scratching at the door. It's just a haywire going on here. But I like this quote from Michael. Peyton to the Broncos, Super Bowl. Brady to the Bucks, Super Bowl. Stafford to the Rams, Super Bowl. Rodgers to the Jets. Why not? I like the way you think, Michael. You got to have that positive mindset, that positivity. I think that is absolutely the move. Why not, right? Why not us? The Bucks were just not a team that was really like taken seriously before Tom Brady got there. It just was not. And he comes in and they win a Super Bowl. Stafford and the Rams, like they were a nice team, the Rams, but could they get over the hump with Jared Goff? They said no. They trade for Matt Stafford. They win the Super Bowl. Can the same thing happen with the Jets? Man, I hope so. Man, I hope so. Listen to Dave. Hit the like button before you comment. Why not? Add that comment in there, baby. I love it. Yeah, this is the big one, Mikey Mouse. Tom Pelissero, the Jets have worked through the compensation and contract for Aaron Rodgers. It's up to him to let them and the Packers know what it is that he wants to do. Huge. That's the big part of it, right? Because there were so many rumors of, oh, well, maybe they don't want to pay the whole $60 million, or the Packers want the first. The Jets don't want to give up the first. They want to lowball them, blah, blah. Like that stuff being taken care of is the biggest part of this whole function. No? Is it not the biggest part of all this? Chris says, Alan Lazard, take your time, boss. I promise it's going to be worth it. Yeah, how about Alan Lazard and Aaron Rodgers to the Jets? Both of them? I'd sign up for that in a second. Would you? I think you'd do it. What up? Alex says, sup, Matt? Well, it looks like it's just up to Rodgers now. Absolutely. V-Man with quote, I haven't been this excited since liberation of Kershaw. There we go. Don't forget Montana to KC too. Yeah, he was good there. Joe Montana was good in Kansas City. They made a playoff spot. No, they were a playoff team. Chuck Clark is huge too. Yeah, I want to get into that. I think Joey D flipping a 2024 7th rounder to the Baltimore Ravens, his former stomping ground for a guy who's going to be a starting caliber safety and a pretty damn good player. Had over 100 tackles last year. Not an interception machine, but he can play free safety. He could play down in the box. I think my preference would probably be have him play down. And he's cheap. I believe it was Rosenblatt had the info. I want to pull it up. His cap hit is less than $3 million for the Jets, I want to say. Pull it up right now. Yeah, here we go. 27 years old, 1 year left on his deal, 2.4 million, 101 tackles, 4 pass deflections, a forced fumble, which was Breece Hall, by the way, 0 interceptions, PFF 41st overall safety, 9th tackling, 16th run defense, 53rd coverage out of 74, minimum 500. He'll replace LaMarcus Joyner. He says, and then he says, I should say replaces Joyner on the roster. Still TBD what happens with Jordan Whitehead. Yeah, I think Chuck Clark is probably better served as a strong safety, but can do it. I like this one from Josh. Is your credit card ready to buy a Rodgers jersey the minute he gets traded? Because mine is. Yeah, I'm ready to do that swipe. My girlfriend's dad is a huge Jet fan. He's a huge Aaron Rodgers guy. He's been talking about it since November. He's ready to go too. When I texted him yesterday that they were flying out there, or the other day, whenever it was, they're all starting to blend together. He was like, I got NFL.com right up, right there. Phil says, so we are just waiting to see if Rodgers says yes or no. Pretty much. Yep. It feels that way. It's pretty much just. Did I send green beans? Oh, I'm a fool. Yo, Leary, send a link. You send green beans. That's hysterical. I did. I thought oh, whoops. I did send green beans link. That's hysterical. That's my bad. My bad, guys. We're going to get Ryan in here. Get the boys in here. That's my bad. My bad, boys. Kane Smith says, I can't take it anymore. No, we all can't. We're all nervous. We're all sweating bullets out over here. Big stuff. How about that troll job by Schefter? He should be tarred and feathered for his behavior this morning. Are we kidding me? He first comes out and says the Jets have made a trade with the first tweet and then follows it up. You know what? Let's save the cuteness for not a pressing time. Some of us are in life or death mode with Aaron Rodgers. So I don't necessarily want to hear, oh, I'm going to get my trolls in. Let's go to Ryan, who's here. Ryan, I sent the right link this time. That's my bad.
Dude, I put in the link. I was like, oh, that seems familiar. And I hit enter, and Green Bean's like, oh, God, someone's in here. Am I still live? He was at his computer. I was like, oh, dude. I was like, yeah, O'Leary sent us the wrong link. I was like, I'm trying to get his attention on the chat.
Yeah, I was behind. I'm falling behind in the comments, but
yeah.
That's hilarious. Oh, my God.
I saw your comment about Chuck Clark. So his base salary is $2.4 million. His cap hit is 4.1 because he has a roster bonus of 1.6 million.
Okay, still, even him at $4 million, I think is a massive upgrade for this secondary now.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. I think, just being able to get rid of the missed tackles from Whitehead, I think is huge. And I don't think, like we were talking on Green Bean stream, you don't cut Whitehead until after the draft because he doesn't have any triggers as far as like dates go, right, where it would be, critical. So you wait and see if you could find his replacement or maybe a free safety or whatever you want, your second safety to be in the draft.
Yeah, I was going to say, do you wait to the draft or do you think that someone like Jesse Bates could still be on the table? Does this take them out of the Jesse Bates running?
I don't think I was ever going to be in on Jesse Bates just because the amount of money it was going to cost. I would prefer to go after Jimmy Ward. I think it's going to be a lot cheaper. And now all of a sudden you have a guy that knows Salah's defense and wants to go back to safety. And then you link him up with Clark and you have a lethal duo back there for the next year or two for relatively cheap. I would go the conservative route and draft a safety, to develop.
Yeah, I think that's probably my preferred route also at this point. And it, like you said too, with Whitehead, you don't have to pull the trigger and say, all right, cut him now and move on. And then you put yourself in an absolute pinch where going in, okay, we have to take a safety. You can kind of let the board, fall to you in a sense and then take it from there. But I agree. I think Clark is probably better suited as a strong safety than he is a free safety just because he's not really much of a ball hawk back there.
Yeah, I think he's only got I was looking it up before. It wasn't a lot of interceptions in his career. He's got, 5 interceptions in his career, and passes defensed are so-so. I mean, he had 4 last year, 12 the year before that, and then 4 the year before that, and 9. So 9-4, 12-4 was the last 4 years of pass deflections for him.
Okay. Yeah, there we go. That's definitely going to be something that we're keeping a close eye. He can hold his own in coverage. Actually, the one like interception clip I see is I think he picked off Stafford twice in a game, which is funny.
Did you see I saw it in the Green Bean stream before. Stafford, I guess, is on the market. They're saying they're shopping him.
Yeah, I don't isn't his dead cap hit like 70 million?
It's enormous. It
No.
has to be done after June 1st.
Okay.
So I pulled it up. I gotta go back to it. So if the Jets were to miss on Rodgers, I might pivot to Stafford for a year or two, because I think you get him for like nothing. If you trade post June 1st, it would be an $18.5 million dead cap hit for the Rams. They would save $1.5 million. So they'd have to do it after everything. So maybe this is a situation where it's like, okay, it's Rodgers first. Rodgers decides he's retiring. Then you go to Lamar. The Ravens match Lamar. And I think Stafford might be the oh no move after the draft.
Yeah, that's definitely an oh no move. I don't want, and I know you feel the same way. You don't want to have to wait that long for quarterback to potentially be answered.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's
if he's moved though, like contract wise, 2023, his salary would be $1.5 million. In 2024, it would be $31 million. In 2025, it would be $32 million. And then it would be $31 million in 2026. That would be his 35, 36, 37, and 38-year-old seasons. So really not bad from like a cap hit perspective. He's actually the most affordable contract we could take on this year.
Yeah, exactly. So something to keep a close eye on. I got a couple super chats in here I want to pop up on the screen as we're talking. We got John Perez hanging out with us saying, is JD going to fleece the Packers and New York Post title? Yeah. What do you think the New York Post title would be for Aaron Rodgers?
It would be like something about the darkness and like the Jets living in it or something. I think that's probably where they would go with it. Yeah, I don't know. Is there like a headline that immediately pops out to you?
No. We got to get my guy Joe Maniello. He's Newsday's columnist, and he does all the headlines on the back page. I'm sure he's got something in the hopper for it, but I can't. There's nothing jumping out to me right off the top here. But they're always good. It's going to be something wild. I'm thinking something like darkness is a big one. Savior.
Finger Lake says Jets went to a dark place.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
I like that.
Yeah, that could work. Andy says, are we nervous that Rodgers hasn't decided yet? A little bit, but we're not really too surprised. I'm not surprised. Are you?
Nah, not really. I mean, I'm hoping it happens today purely because I have work tomorrow, but I think it's probably going to happen tomorrow because of, what is it? When things go wrong, they go wrong or whatever. I think Rodgers wants the whole weekend of media coverage to be about him and the Jets getting the free agents. I think that's what's going to happen. It makes no sense for him to wait longer than that because then he doesn't have a say in our free agents at that point.
Yeah, it's got to be by tomorrow. I would think by tomorrow, right?
Yeah, I think so.
We got one draft Jordan Battle, Alabama, then cut Whitehead. I like Jordan Battle a lot. I was hoping he was going to come out last year. He was someone who was mocked in like the second rounds, if I remember correctly, last year.
Yeah. Are we seeing him second round this year, or is he? I've seen him a few times in the third.
Yeah, me too. I think he might go a little bit lower, but there's a batch of like third-ish round guys like Jordan Battle. JL Skinner is a very popular one.
Sidney Brown.
Yeah, there you go. That's another one too. I think that's a day two window, whether you want to say round 2 or round 3. So at some point on day 2, I think you could find yourself a pretty nice safety. I am a big fan of Jordan Battle. I know his stock has maybe dropped a little bit, but I still think he's a solid.
Do you think the Jets would trade down possibly and get a safety like Antonio Johnson? Like, do you think there's any shot that happens? Like, if they just say we want the top one on the board at our position of weakness because we have Brown as our tackle, and then I think they try to add someone at some point. But if they talk themselves into that,
yeah, maybe. That would make me super uncomfy because I just you're trying to rely on 3 tackles who were injured for you last year, and Brown, Becton, and Mitchell. Or people who miss time. So can they do it? Yes, and there's a chance that it could work, but that's incredibly risky, I think, anyway.
I think they want the developmental tackle from BYU. let him go scout team with Zach.
Yeah. There you go. Let's go to Moose City. He dropped a banger in here, $20. Thank you, sir. My bad, Matt. Thought I was subbed. What the hell is wrong with me? How are we feeling? Yeah, what the hell, man? We need those sub numbers up. If you're in here and not subbed up, what are you doing? Hit the subscribe button. It costs you nothing. But yeah, we are we're doing okay. We're doing our best over here. A little anxious, but we're making the most of it. And it helps because look, it's all of us together. We've been doing it the last few days, and I got Ryan in here hanging out with me. So
yeah. Funny story. What was I gonna say? I messaged Asman the other day, and I was like, "Hey, dude, congratulations on finally earning my subscription. I didn't realize I wasn't subbed up to you for the last few years." I was like, "Dude, we've been collabing and all that." And like, yeah, 25,000 subs is when he finally got me to sub.
Yep, that's crazy. Sometimes you just don't realize. I'm a bad YouTube user where I do the same thing. Like, I might watch a channel regularly, and then I'm like, "Oh, I'm not even subscribed."
Because the algorithm feeds you the videos you want to watch anyway. So you don't almost have to be subscribed, which hurts because then it sucks for like us.
Yes, exactly. But now, ever since I've been in the YouTube game, I've tried to get better at that for sure.
Yeah.
Let's go to Ron, who says, how the hell do we not have the full-fledged 3 band members of Rush on a special day like this? You guys started all of this. Let's effing go.
Green Bean will hop in a little later. It's funny. When I hopped into Green Bean's stream by accident, he was still sitting in front of the camera, and he's just like, "Oh, I got to do something with my daughter. I'll be back. I'll hop on in a little bit." So yeah, I think he's planning to come back at some point.
Yeah, like I said, I've been on usually about 2 hours. I'm not expecting any of you guys to stay on the whole time. You're more than welcome to stay as long as you want. Same for Green Bean. If we see anyone else, pop in, send over the link. But yeah, we're all kind of in this together, so I figured why not hop on. And it's been kind of fun. Right? It's like kind of scary, but also kind of fun at the same time.
It's cool because we're like all moving in lockstep. It's nice to see like the whole fan base, majority of the fan base. I'd say 99% of the fan base is behind this move right now. And everyone's feeling the same way. When I went live last night for like the Can't Sleep stream, like I thought maybe I'd get 100, 200 people because people were probably just going to be in there. There was like a zillion. I was like, whoa, what are you bastards doing right now? It's way too late.
Yeah, so when I was up this morning, my dad, I saw my dad downstairs, and he's like, "Is Ryan still live?" I'm like, "You were in that?" And he's like, "Yeah, I went in for a little bit." That's hilarious. I was like, I was editing on Wednesday nights. I do my Islanders podcast, so I had it on in the background for a little bit, and then I went to sleep. But I didn't realize how you said it earlier. You're on for like what, 2 hours last night, something like that.
Yeah, I was surprised I went that long. I told Beck, I was like, I'm going to go for a half hour and just like just vent.
Yeah.
my blood pressure's through the roof right now.
The nervous energy.
I'm jittery.
Ron's got one, Darkness in the New York Town, Springsteen for the New York Post quote. Yeah. I
feel like it's got to be quicker, like snappier than that.
Yeah, like it's usually like two words or like 3. It's short. So
yeah.
I think she wants out. Puppy wants out. We got to let her out.
Sorry, Molly.
What else we got in here? We got Andy back with a super chat saying, I have such a hard time doing a deep dive on the draft until Rodgers thing is done. I'm a nervous wreck. LOL. Dude, I have not finished my free agency prep yet, which is bad because that's coming very, very soon. And usually during the lead up in years gone by, I've done like videos like on breakdowns, like each position, and then like a premier guy, and then maybe middle tier, and then like a cheaper option. I haven't done any of those videos. I think on Sunday, I'm just going to do like one long, big video with all free agents because I'm kind of in that same boat here.
Yeah, I'm definitely like, I've looked at some draft prospects because of the combine and a few of the mock drafts that we've done. But like free agent wise, I am totally behind. Like it pivots, or not, it pivots. It changes so drastically depending on what the quarterback situation is. So like, why put any energy into it if you don't have Rodgers? Then why am I going to like put together like, oh, I want Randall Cobb, or I want this, or I want that? Like, I'm not going after those players without Rodgers.
No, of course not. And I was hoping it would be figured out by now, I think.
Yeah. I also think it's a lot of this year is about retaining our own guys more so than the outside guys that we've tried to bring in the past.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. They pretty much said, was it at the combine or maybe down somewhere like we want to retain our defense, essentially.
Yeah, I think Salah said that, right? I think it was like during combine week.
Yeah. So a few weeks ago now, at this point, we saying like we want to bring back the most of our core on defense. Which I mean, hell, it was a top 5 unit. I get that, and you brought in. What?
Roger? No, sorry, it wasn't that. Great headline. I didn't mean to do that.
Get the shit out of me.
I know. I'm so sorry. Benjamin Sanders has a great headline. That's the headline right there. He just sent it in as a super chat. It's the last $2 one.
Let's hop in there. 2-word headline. Roger that. Oh my god, they gotta hire you. That's thank you. How did we not think of
I don't know. It's beautiful.
Benjamin, that is phenomenal. Thank you so much for the super chat. Thank you for the support, and thank you for the perfect headline. It was great. We went out a little bit. No. You're right, though. That is the perfect one. Let's go back to Moose City. He was up next saying, I sort of like the idea of signing a tackle in free agency like Mike McGlinchey and using the draft to get a safety. You're bigger on McGlinchey than I am, I think. But try to sell me, Ryan.
All right. So I've been a little more off the bandwagon on him to an extent. But let me pull it up. So his valuation on Over the Cap was put at $9 million. His salary for this past year was about $10 million. So he's right at that same threshold. He's 28 years old. He's 6'8". I mean, I like it. Then maybe you say like, hey, Brown is our backup left tackle in case Becton gets hurt. So then you get to say, Becton, your left tackle 1. If you could get Mike McGlinchey for like $10 million, I think I would go that route. A lot of his games, like Over the Cap has a valuation section, and a lot of his games trended above that $10 million threshold. I mean, there were a few that were lower, but that may have been in conjunction with poor quarterback play there too.
Yeah, I like him. I'm just not in love with him, and I'm not in love with the idea of spending for a right tackle.
I was going to say, especially since if you're planning to put Becton or Mitchell over there, and like you have the 13 pick to get the left tackle without having to spend the 10, like it almost feels like money we shouldn't spend, but it's weird like to say that.
Yeah, no, totally. I just like that's not my preference on how to fix that position. I still think you need another body in there for sure. Mm-hmm. I just think preference wise, I'd rather do it through the draft, but I understand where people like Moose City come from on this. How about this one? Can we land Aaron Rodgers without the first round pick? I think absolutely.
Yeah. They were talking about the Packers wanting a first round pick for Rodgers, and at that point, I just say like, look, we're willing to take on this monster contract. We're not going to have you eat any of the salary cap. We'll trade you our second this year and a conditional first next year based on if the Jets make it to, let's call it the AFC Championship game. Maybe it's not even the Super Bowl or something like that. I think that's the only way that they get a first round pick. I would stand pat if I'm Joe Douglas, and I would not offer 13 to them.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to take 13. I think it'll be a second this year, a conditional pick next year. Maybe you throw in a Corey Davis if they want it. Did you see the Colin Cowherd video yesterday? I'm sure you did.
What did he say?
That if you have to include Sauce Gardner in the deal, you do it.
Oh, I did see that. Yes, kick rocks. never gonna. Yeah. Oh, yeah. We're gonna trade this defensive MVP, the best cornerback to come out of college. Probably, it might end up being ever if this guy starts on this same trajectory. Like, this guy's incredible, and we're gonna trade him for a 39-year-old quarterback on a $60 million contract. Yeah. Okay. Sure.
What do you think? Like, I don't want to go too far off the rails, but just quick here. What do you think Sauce's trade value is like
immediately, right?
On his own? Yeah.
I would value him. I would probably say 3 firsts. I'd probably say 2 firsts and a second or something like that. Like, you would really have to blow the doors off for me to move Sauce. I think culture wise, it's enormous. I think he's, the best player at a premium position on a dirt cheap contract. It's just, he's a freak athlete. I think I would almost say untradeable.
Yeah, no, I'm not advocating for trading him, but I'm saying it would be significantly more than the Adams return, which was 2 firsts and a third. So I think you're looking at even way more than that. So, which is crazy because then you're comparing it to the Rodgers. Like, Rodgers is not worth the 3 first rounders. So, like, why are you including him? Just crazy.
Yeah, it's weird, right? Like, I don't know how he could have gotten to like, first and sauce for Rodgers. Like,
Yeah,
no.
that's bonkers. But this one from William made me laugh, so I wanted to pop it up there. Matt, do either you or Ryan know of any good nursing homes? I am stroking out here.
I've never heard that. That's amazing.
Stroking out. Yeah, it's look, I've been stressing when this morning too. I was talking to my dad. I'm like, I don't want to eat. I don't want to shower. Like, I don't want to miss it. I was like, I can't leave the house. I've been pretty much in my room here for 3 days, ready to do content.
Oh, dude, I same way. Like, legitimately, I hopped on Green Bean stream. I hopped on this stream because I'm like, I'd love to catch like the reaction if I can, but like I can only sit in front of the camera for so long.
I know. And then the voice starts to go. It's like after about 6 hours of talking, I'm a little tired now.
Yep. Got to prep for the draft stream.
Yeah. Oh, that's the marathon. There is nothing quite like it. But man, this is it's stressful, but I said this earlier too. It's stressful, but it's also really fun because we're all in it together, which I like. Pre-internet days, could you imagine how stressful that would be? You're basically, what are you doing? Just listening on the radio, hoping they break the news? Like,
well, think about it. I mean, when Favre came to the Jets, I only like I don't think Twitter was a thing yet. I'm pretty sure because that was 2008, right? August of 08. So that's like, I mean, I don't even remember there being like this huge rush of, I mean, I remember like the news coverage of it, but like there was nowhere to like vent your talking. Like I was on like football forums. I was on, I wasn't part of Jet Insider, but I was on Football's Future, and like the chat forums blow up, but like we didn't have social media. Facebook was like barely a thing at that point.
Right. I think I found out like watching SportsCenter the next day. Like that was the lead. I was like, oh, holy crap, it happened. Mr. Downtown comes in with a good one. Where does our next punt returner, kick returner come? Bam, free agency, the draft. I would think either Bam or they'll use like a 5th round pick or something on a running back or wide receiver that could return punts and kicks.
Yeah, I would also maybe throw in there Ashton Davis. I don't know how good he would be at returning kicks, but I think early in the season we may not use Bam because we don't have Brees initially. Like I think there is a little bit to that. Like if you don't have Brees to start the season, you don't put Bam back there.
Yeah, because you don't want to risk it. I get that, because you don't want to risk it. Yeah, because it would be assuming that they don't have Brees to start the year, then you're looking at a Bam and Michael Carter 1-2 punch for the first few weeks, and maybe you bring James Robinson back or not. But yeah, I'm kind of with you on that. That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
This one, we got another super chat. Actually, I'm going to skip over that negative comment. Let's go to Moose. How y'all feeling about Becton? He looks like he's incredibly motivated. He is looking like he's lost a lot of weight. I feel like it's a great sign. I am rooting for Mekhi Becton, Ryan. I want the absolute best for him. I want him to prove everyone wrong. The one thing that I've said about Mekhi is I just don't think the Jets' plan could be like, this is going to be our opening day left tackle, and like we're not going to do anything else to possibly even entertain the idea that he's going to get hurt again. But he's missed the last 2 years, man. I don't know how you can have that as your number one plan A.
Yeah, I think we're seeing an incredibly motivated Becton because he realizes he just ate himself out of $14 million, which would have been his 5th-year option. So I don't think the Jets are going to exercise that option. I think what's probably going to happen is he'll go on the final year of his deal right now, of his rookie contract, and they're going to say, hey, we want you here long term. I would even go to Mekhi and say, hey, look, we want to win a Super Bowl. We want to extend you on a 2-year contract for that window. So your 4th year this year plus 2 more years. We don't want to pay you the 5th-year option fully guaranteed. We'll give you the contract as long as you're healthy, or we'll pay you a little bit more as long as you're healthy. Like I'm fine with those types of contingents. But yeah, I'm with you. I don't think you make Becton your left tackle. I would probably, for optics purposes, slot him in at right tackle, like starter on the little roster sheet, and then have him compete with Mitchell, and then take maybe a tackle in the mid to late rounds, maybe like that BYU kid, Freeland, and then you have like hedged your bets without the maybe perception that you're replacing him, because ideally you don't want to have to, but you need to hedge your bets in case it doesn't work out.
No, 100%. I mean, look at the guy. He looks like he's in tremendous shape. Again, I'm rooting for him. I think he's doing everything that he can. I think he has the right attitude for himself. And, you got to stay motivated. I'm sure, being on the sideline the last 2 years stinks. He's a football player. He loves the game. And when he was on the field, he was extremely productive. So, I think we're on the same page there with Becton rooting for the guy. We got another one from JetCast. Make sure to subscribe up to them if you haven't already over on YouTube. Once Fanatics allows us to create a Rodgers Jet jersey, then we know it's on. If he wants a ring, how has to know. He's now has to know we are the best option, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
I'm like Ron Burgundy. I can't read. He saw us up close when we beat them. That's true. And he talked glowingly about the Jets after that on his Pat McAfee appearance, I guess. Yeah, I think it makes a ton of sense for him when you look at the other teams who could potentially be in the mix. So now it really just feels like it's the Jets or bust. But even when we were trying to say like, oh, maybe the Raiders or maybe Tennessee or whoever, it always felt like the Jets were the best fit. No.
Yeah, no, for sure. And little thing you could do, JetCash, you could go over to the Jet shop and just do a custom jersey, custom number, and put Rodgers on the back.
Yeah,
that's what I did for Sauce.
Now, yeah, that is really cool. I do like the Sauce #1 jersey. That's awesome. Do you think he's gonna wear 12 or 8?
I hope he wears 8. I think there's like a special bond with everyone in 12, and I think Namath offering it up is like I would respect Rodgers either way. I think it would be really fun to watch a white jersey. Maybe if they could bring back the retro jersey as like our alternate, and then Rodgers trots out in the number 12, like after this big ceremony with Namath. Like that would be really fun to see. But at the same time, like if Rodgers says, no, that's your number. Like you're one of the greats of all time. I'll wear number 8. I could respect that too.
And then what does Moore go to? I feel like Moore, you got to go double 8s, 88.
Ooh, I don't know. I didn't really give that much of a thought. You think 88's pretty good? He's kind of slim though. I feel like that's a wide number. Maybe he needs like a 3, half an 8.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah, that is okay. I like 3. Yeah.
Or 4, half of 8.
3. Well, then you got to cut Jordan Whitehead. So he has the number. Is Whitehead 3?
No. Oh yeah, Whitehead is 3.
Or 6.
Oh no. Now I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. Doesn't matter. Point is, we'll find Elijah Moore number, probably a single digit because he's a skinny dude. But yeah, 88 is one of my favorite wide receivers numbers. Oh, we have another special guest.
Ooh,
hey!
We're back.
Dang, baby. Yeah. My bad for scaring the crap out of you before. I didn't realize that I sent the same link that you sent. I sent it right back in the group chat, and Ryan jumped in with you.
That was funny. Because I just like ended the stream and I called my wife and I was talking about whatever I'm talking about. And then I heard that boop and I was like, oh my God, I left the stream running and somebody's in there. So it was ended. All's well that ends well. No sweat, man. But yeah, what are you guys talking about? What's going on?
Yeah, we're going through. We were just talking about, I'll pop it up from JetCast here. That when you'll know when you're able to create the Rodgers jersey. But we were talking about the 12 versus the 8. And if he was to wear 8 instead of 12, then what do you do with Elijah Moore? What number does he wear?
Well, what's left? Mike White was 5, right?
Yeah, Mike White's 5.
So maybe we can, because Mike White, I mean, do you think Mike White's coming back? I don't think he'll be back.
No, I think he's going to hit the open market. I could see him going to like Tampa or the Rams. Well, link up with LaFleur. LaFleur loves him.
LaFleur loves him. He was talking all that stuff about he outplayed Zach Wilson all year in camp and everything. So, I mean, hey, LaFleur was his biggest advocate. You know that, right? So maybe. But then again, you got the talk about the homecoming in Florida with the Dolphins. Maybe that's one. You said Tampa's not too far away, 3-4 hours away. Maybe. But I think maybe that would be maybe Garrett Wilson sees the opportunity to grab 5. That was his number in college, right? 5, I think.
Yes. Yep, he was.
Maybe he grabs 5 and Elijah Moore gets 17 or something. I don't know. What do you think?
A little switcherooski? Okay.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, it'd be a lot of pissed off people though with their Garrett Wilson jerseys.
Yeah, hand up me at the front of the line.
Yeah, right.
I traded in, please, and then also put switch my Moore to Rodgers now. Are we
I know. Hey, well, did anybody ever have any success like removing the nameplate and putting on a different name?
Well,
Anybody done that?
if the number changes and you buy your jersey within the same year, I think they replace it.
Really?
I think so. I'm almost positive they started doing that.
Well, that's interesting. But like how Jamal is 33. He with lots of Jamal Adams jerseys, but if somebody else, I forget who had 33, but somebody comes and you want to just take Adams off like on your own and put on whoever. You think do we know anybody who's actually done that to any success?
No, not that I'm aware of. I mean, we got lucky when you have like Tony Adams wears 33, and then you're like, cool.
Yeah, that's right. Very good.
Tony Adams fan that ever lived.
Yeah, right. Huge. Love him. But yeah, man. I mean, I don't know if anybody like takes it off. I think Ryan, didn't you put something like you wrote something on the back of a Jamal Adams jersey?
Oh yeah, I wrote impeached.
There it is. That's right. I knew something happened.
There we go. Look at Buffalo Jet fans in here with us now, hanging out. What's up, Buffalo? Digging the never-ending alternative live streams. Yeah, you're gonna have 24/7, 365 Jets live stream somewhere for the next little bit here. It feels like.
Sure.
I love it. Yeah, it's been fun, stressful, but fun time. Now, on your stream later tonight, Green Bean, I know you were hoping to have Connor Hughes on. What do you think the chances are of that happening? You think he's going to have to be on Rodgers Watch himself?
I think there's a strong possibility that he will not be on tonight. I'm gonna ride with it and see, but yeah, I think he's got to work. So the Rodgers Watch is going to potentially push him off the show, but then he said, if I can't do it, I'll jump on immediately following. So the next stream, so we'll get him on. But it'd be nice to have him on. I had all sorts of digging questions I was planning to get at him with tonight, man, and say, what do you know? What about this? Who would they say? What'd they do when they went here? I was going to do all that stuff. So maybe that's why he's like, I don't even want to deal with that shit.
Did you see he was on, maybe it was last week, he was on with NYJ, Matt, and Mike, and like every time his phone would buzz and he'd look down, both of them would like go to the edge of their seats like, is it happening? And he's like, oh no, sorry, my dog was picked up from the vet. It's like something like that.
Oh, that's awesome. That had to be fun just to go, do that with them. Like you said, anytime the phone rings or buzz, you think big news. That I would love to have him on a stream and have something come in like that. That'd be fantastic.
Yeah, that would be what I would love to be a fly on the wall for that, right? To see how like the breaking news would like how did they obviously they have their sources, but I want to see them find out and then tell us. That'd be cool.
Yeah, like a behind the scenes kind of look. The Green Bean stream with Hughes was a really cool like behind the scenes glimpse of what goes on in that world.
Yeah, I thought so. I think we did a pretty good job kind of digging into some stuff, you know what I mean, about the press and the agents and why our beat doesn't get any scoops anymore and all those I thought that was neat.
Mm-hmm.
We just had Buffalo Jet in here. I went to do my every 5-minute Twitter refresh. I saw a great tweet from Buffalo Jet fan. He says, call off work tomorrow and live stream the entire day until news breaks or be an adult. I think we speak for I'll speak for all of them. You need to call out and be on live all day long. That's what I would do.
Tomorrow's supposed to be my first day back at work, and I'm like cringing.
So you have Sunday scaries to the max right now.
Dude, I'm panicked. When the news dropped earlier today from Deanna Rossini, I had to go to an interview for my second in command, and the guy wound up like I pull into the parking lot and said, "Oh, sorry, I'm not going to be able to make the meeting today." I'm like, "Oh!" I like ripped out of the parking lot and shot home. I was like, "I need to be home for this."
Yeah. Right. Exactly. Crazy. We got one from super chat from Moose City. Another one. Thank you so much, sir. How are we feeling about Clark? I'm hearing he is super solid. I definitely think so. Green Bean, what are your thoughts on our newest member of the New York Jets right now?
Well, I like it. I think it's a really strong move. It's not one that we're going to be, singing praises about. But look, to give a 2024 7th round pick. So once again, Joe Douglas uses a 7th round pick for something other than the draft. I don't think he's used one yet. As far as just waiting and using it for a pick. So again, now that's next year's, but so we're going to do that. But I think it's a super crazy deal for a longtime starter. So he's a NFL caliber starting safety. He's had very, very good years. He's played both free safety and strong safety, so there's versatility there. I think the concern comes in when people say, well, why are we getting them so cheap, number one? And why do they want to move on, number two? So it's a really valid question. I mean, in the last 12 months, the Ravens used some significant resources on the safety position, one being a first-round pick on Kyle Hamilton, and then giving at the time, I think it was the largest safety contract to Marcus Williams. So why would they do that if they love Clark? And I think that's a valid question. But I think, sometimes you have to look at it like this: like you're on the board, and maybe you wanted to get a tackle, let's say, but the tackles aren't really where they're the quality's dropped off a little bit, and you look on your board and you see a player that you had your third overall player, and maybe it's not a position of need, but you see the opportunity to improve and get a potentially a unicorn, like we were all talking about with Hamilton last year, and generational and all that sort of stuff. So it could be just as simple as that. I do see why he's expendable. It doesn't necessarily mean he sucks. But I think, digging too deep on why they don't want him anymore, I think you might find some things. But Joe Douglas, number one, he knows the Ravens very, very well. And I think that their relationship is strong. There's been quite a few things between the two teams over the years. And obviously he was raised in there. But so I think that they're not going to just dump, some guy who's not going to be able to play on him. I would say, I think the vetting is probably there. But I think, again, he's just expendable on their roster. They lose the contract. So that has value too, man. Like we don't think about that all the time, but sometimes, they're trying to make money for, make room for potentially caving to Lamar Jackson and all that jazz. So I don't know. I think it's a really strong move. Again, it's not one that it doesn't take me from we weren't going to make the playoffs to we are going to make the playoffs. I don't think it's that big of a move, but I think it's super solid. And the price, you can't beat it.
No, you really can't. And one of my favorite things about Chuck Clark is since he's been a regular player starting in 2019, he's played 16, 16, 16, and 17 games. He's missed one game, which was in 2021. So sign me the hell up for that, right, with the Jets injuries recently. Ryan, we had your take a little bit earlier, but still excited over Chuck Clark being the newest piece to this Jets defense?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I pulled it up. It looks like you said 2017 was the only injured game he had, I think. Is that right?
2021.
2021. Okay. Yeah. Availability is the best ability. Like that is absolutely huge from what we've seen out of this team overall the last few years. So I think it's cool that he provides some flexibility from a strong safety and free safety perspective. And I think it allows you the flexibility to sit back in the draft and not press the need for a safety. And then if you get one that you like, you can cut Jordan Whitehead and save that $7.25 million because there's no date that's triggering that bonus.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think that's the move there. There's no rush to move on. This one from Ryan made me laugh. The brink, really 3 to 5 business days at one Jets drive. Yeah, that was one this morning from Diana Rossini of ESPN. It was like, the Jets feel optimistic, like they're on the brink of landing Aaron Rodgers. Now, to be fair, that was tweeted out at about 8 a.m. our time. So that's like 5 in the morning from where Aaron Rodgers is. So we can cut him some slack because it's still it's what, 12:15 over there. We got to get Jeremy on the scene. What the hell is he up to? What's he doing? It'll make him useful.
Get him in the bushes. put him out there outside Rodgers' house.
Well, right. Who was it? Was it Cali Jet from Twitter? Was at the airport all staked out, right? Was that him?
Yeah. And I think it was Optimistic Jet that was in the bushes at
Florham Park.
At Florham Park for the Salah stuff.
We're unbelievable. We really are.
The Jets content is impressive.
Oh yeah. I don't see the Cardinals fans doing this. You know what I mean?
Oh God.
No, all 12 of them?
Right.
Oh man.
I'll tell you, man. Right? Like, could you imagine? It's like they'd be like, well, what do you mean? We just wait for the news. What are you guys doing? We make the news.
No,
we make it.
Investigative journalism. I can't tell you how many times yesterday on the stream we watched the video of Woody Johnson walking out of the house and the paparazzi just trying to get something out of him. And he's the only idiot who's giving him stuff. He's like, oh yeah, he's coming out smiling, Salah head down, Douglas head down. The other guy, I'm assuming his agent head down, and he's meandering over that Mr. Magoo going over to the car. Great.
I got to say, like, even for him though, I thought that he was at least, he didn't give up. I was worried. Like when he opened his mouth, I thought we were going to hear some crazy stuff. And he just said, we'll have to see. So I was like, okay, good. At least he kept it to that. For him, that's actually not too shabby.
He can't help himself, though.
He can't. He loves it, man. He loves that, like, being a part of the cool kid crew. You know what I mean? Even though he's the billionaire, a lot of owners, they don't come across like that. He always wants to be. Remember Rex and Tanny? He was like in the war room, like with trade, saying he said that thing. I think it was with Revis's agents. He goes, "They can't push us around. We're New York." Like, okay, all right. Who do they think they're talking to?
Yeah, shut the F up, Woody Johnson. Let the men work. Get out of here.
That's right.
I feel like when you get to that level of income, it's like, you kind of forget the rest of us. And then it's like all these billionaires playing together. And it's like, if any of us were going to get together, it's like, I bet you $5 I can do that or that. And they're just extrapolating the numbers out to like 3 extra decimal points.
Yeah. It's wild. I wanted to pop this one up from Hennessy. We've been on the Rodgers stuff, but he says Lamar needs to fire himself and hire an agent. How crazy is that situation that he honestly, like, do you know who would be able to say that you might not get interest from these other teams? An agent. Doesn't it like, hello, that's why you need the agent here. Ryan, you think something's going on outside the scenes maybe?
I think it would be very tough to prove. I do think there's reasons outside of collusion to see why like Lamar's not getting signed. I just think it doesn't pass the sniff test when teams like Atlanta and Carolina, who seem out of striking distance at their current picks at pick 8 and pick 9 in the draft, to not want to at least talk to Lamar. Like, we don't even, like, they shouldn't have any idea what's going on with Lamar's contract negotiations. Like, if, like, who's to say Lamar wouldn't accept like a 2-year insanely high contract deal that, like, okay, I'll prove it for these 2 years. I'm guaranteed for this. And then we'll renegotiate it before you have to cut me after giving up 2 first-round picks. Like, I think he can gamble on himself, and there's other structures to it. And that part, like, makes me a little concerned, but I think a lot of it has to do with, like, hey, he has been injured the last 2 years. There's, how long is he going to play? And I think there is a little bit to the owners, like, hey, we don't want to have this Watson contract all the time because Burrow has to get paid. Herbert has to get paid. And those are like relatively cheaper owners. Like, they're not known for giving out big contracts. Carson Palmer notoriously left Cincinnati because of that.
Yeah, they did. They don't want to spend any money over there. Greenbeat, I know you don't want Lamar for the Jets, but just what overall thought on what's been going on with him and not having much interest anywhere else?
Well, I mean, obviously it's possible. I tend to hesitate to really be, feel confident that there's a collusion thing going on. But I do think, man, they're looking at a team. All the other owners, they're looking at a very, very well-run team offering their quarterback 4 years at $50 million after the injuries and all that stuff. And he's saying no. Excuse me. Now, you can understand, like Ryan was saying a couple weeks ago, the length of the contract. And, okay, I get it. You maybe want more security and all that. But they're looking at this like, number one, he doesn't have an agent. So that's just difficult to work with those guys. And he's taking the largest offer like that probably in free agency this year, and he's saying no. So, like, what are we really signing on for here? It's like, even Deshaun Watson, he had that, obviously he had the whole massage therapist thing and all that, but that was, we already kind of like pretty much knew, I think we did, right? We knew it was going to be like a half-year suspension. It was going to be put, after that's done, he's good. Like, he's on, he's it's not like you're dealing with a problem. He's actually been quite the opposite. He was a very team-oriented guy. He worked with the owners to do a few things with his contract. So, like, it's different. I think they're different situations. I would buy the idea that owners are looking at him and just thinking, not worth it, man. Not worth it. Not worth 6 years fully guaranteed when he hasn't finished 2 seasons in a row. Like, I think what the Ravens are offering is probably very, very strong as far as what anybody would offer. And the fact that he's saying no, I think is more of the problem.
Gotcha. Let's go to Famous Jay. Thank you so much for the super chat. Says, showing Matt some Jets love. Great 24-hour streams from you guys. I wonder if the Jets ever received this much national coverage before. Any remedies for an ulcer? JETS, Jets. Yeah, not in a long time. Probably since maybe 2012 when they were like still kind of relevant and traded for Tebow.
Yeah, I feel like the last rush I had, last rush was probably the immediate trade up for like number 3, I think. But before that, yeah, it's got to go back to like when the Jets were almost, they got Tebow, they had the butt fumble, and like that's the last time we had like a lot of coverage.
You know what I think the biggest one was? Le'Veon Bell.
That was fun.
One.
Yeah.
Remember, I was live for that one.
Yeah, you were right. You were all sorts of happy about that one.
Dude, my audio was all jacked up and I didn't know till after the stream. And I'm hammered on Tito's, just like, let's go.
Yeah, I mean, remember what he did? He made us wait until midnight before he was going to announce which team he was signing with, which coincided with the dropping of his new rap album.
Mm-hmm.
Weird. And, so it was weird. But that was a big deal. I think the entire NFL, because the year before he was, the biggest star in the league pretty much, running back and wide receiver. He was amazing. So whoever he ended up with, I think, was a big deal. So we were getting some noise then too.
Yeah. Did you guys see this? I just pulled up Twitter and I saw Nania's tweet. Will Parks appeared on Boomer and Geo and confirmed it was Justin Hardy who sent out the message to the group chat yesterday saying to start sending recruiting tweets out. It turns out my theory about Saleh and the Jets higher ups asking them to do it was wrong. So Will Parks is the one that generated all that.
Interesting. Well, No, Justin Hardy then.
Oh, sorry, Justin Hardy. Yeah.
That's a special teams captain. If that he deserves to stick around and wear the C then.
Yep.
Because of that.
100%.
Let's go to AP. Thank you so much, my friend. He says, guys, LOL, this is taking too long. Rodgers probably going to go back into the darkness to decide on us. Green Bean, when do you think we find out?
8:15 tonight.
Ooh,
I'll
okay.
be live.
Yeah, perfect. Rye, are you sticking with tomorrow?
I have this. I'm hoping it's today. That I really am, because last year. All right, what was the calendar date last year? Because he announced he was coming back to the Packers last year yesterday. What would that date have been? Would it have been like a Thursday?
3/8.
3/8. All right, let me pull up the calendar real quick. Month. Sorry.
Oh, you're good.
All right. So that would be what are we in March? So March 8th was a Tuesday.
Okay.
So I don't know. I had the feeling he was going to wait until Friday so that we had media coverage for the whole weekend, but I hope the news comes today. I can't do this again. I'm my head's going to explode.
I know. I thought, when was it? I guess Tuesday was starting to feel a little bit real. Yesterday was all right, maybe something finally happens. And then now again today, it's how much longer can we do this? I've kept this stance. I don't know how it could possibly go past Friday because the tampering period starts on Monday. You got to know who your quarterback is when you're trying to sign free agents in 3 days. No?
Yeah, they were talking. I don't know who I saw. Maybe it was Rossini's tweet talking about the Jets are operating as if they are going to have him as their quarterback, and that's kind of gearing where they want their free agent plans to go. But I still think, yeah, you got to find out by Friday because Rodgers wants to have a say in it. At least I would think. I don't think you're just going to bring in guys he wants and then he's like, I'm going to retire.
Unlikely. Very unlikely. Let's go to AZ Jets. Who do you all want to sign first at linebacker, Kwan or Quincy? Me personally, I prefer Kwan over Quincy, but I don't think the Jets see it that way. I think they would prioritize Quincy to keep Quinnen happy. Green Bean, we'll go to you first. What do you think?
I feel the exact same way. And that's not to say that I don't want to re-sign Quincy. I see Quincy as a very inconsistent guy. Like when he's good, man, he is good, like thunderous, heat-seeking missile. But he gets burned a lot, and he has those games where he just flat out sucks. He misses tackles. He was tied for leading our team in missed tackles last year. Quan Alexander his whole bugaboo has been injuries. Last year, with the way that they used him, he stayed healthy the whole year. So I don't know if an increased role is really recommended. I don't know. But I think if I had to make a choice, not considering Quinnen, I would probably lean Quan too. But I think you're right. I think the Jets are going to want to keep the family together.
Ryan?
I'm on the same wavelength. I would prefer Quan. I think Quincy's more likely to stay. I think Quan's going to follow D'Amico to Houston.
Oh, I could see that. That's a good call.
No state income tax, knows the defense. That seems to fit.
Yeah, totally. That's a good call out from you. Mr. Downtown's back. He says Pelissero reported trade comp and contract shape has been agreed with Green Bay and New York Jets. Wasn't the dark retreat designed to clear his mind? Why are we waiting? Valid point, Mr. Downtown. It's just, this is what he does, and this is what we got to live with it. And I understand the people who are frustrated by it. I totally get it, but the Jets don't have another choice. There aren't any other options now.
I feel like Woody would have also said too, like, you take your time whenever you want, because Woody's going to bask in the back page of the Post and just kick his knee up and just, whenever you decide, it's okay. We'll take all the media attention till then. I just hope we find out soon.
What do you think, Green Bean?
I'm sorry. I didn't listen. I didn't hear that one. My bad. I just saw the tweet about Richie and Boy Green on the Die Hard. So I didn't catch that till right now. So
that was cool. The banana one from Boy Green was so funny. I'm going to lose my gosh damn bananas.
Yeah. So anyway, I just saw that. So my bad. I didn't hear it. I'm happy to answer it though. What do we got?
Just basically, what are we still waiting for? Wasn't he supposed to clear his mind, kind of a thing, in this darkness retreat?
Yeah, well, he cleared his mind. Let's organize this. He needed to clear his mind to see if he even wanted to consider the Jets. He did. So he got whatever he got in the darkness retreat. The Jets were a positive piece of that. Now he met with our guys. We flew out there. We had dinner. Now we broke bread with him. He got to meet Woody. And now he's got to think, do I really want to work for that guy? Do I really want to work for Woody Johnson? And then we'll see. I think, look, anything that we've learned about Rodgers is that he doesn't feel pressured to say or do anything. He does it on his own time. And I think it's probably done. He's just, I don't know. I think he just wants to make sure it's the right move.
Yeah, I'm with you there. City Bert, Lombardi on McAfee said first rounder plus a contingent first. He is wrong. Lombardi has usually been wrong and still thinks Parcells is in the league. Yeah. That's really funny. He's one of those guys who's banging the drum saying that it's going to be the 2 first rounders. You still have some incels saying that. There's no way. I think, we got a nice little.
Oh, wait, can I get my co-pilot hat? It's right there.
Oh, look at that.
Yay.
That's so
She has a little hat from my teddy bear.
Oh, look at that. Oh, that's amazing. Oh, I love it.
That's the highlight of the stream.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Oh, no doubt.
Ask Shay if she thinks it's going to take 2 firsts.
Shay, what do you think? 2 firsts to get Aaron Rodgers? I want some rice crackers and some orange slices. Okay, yeah, we could do that. I think Trader Joe will do that.
Yeah, orange slices in the house. I'm with it.
Sounds good. Greavy, I know you're still that third. It's going to take pick 13, but do you think it's going to be 2 firsts, or do you think that's crazy town?
I think it's crazy. I don't think that's what's going to happen. I think, like I said, I've shared that I just find it difficult to think we should be so fortunate as to not lose the 13th pick. But let's say we do. I don't see another first next year. I think I can see a conditional something like in the event he wins the Super Bowl, it's another first. I mean, would we be angry about that? I don't know.
Nah, not at all. I just don't want to give up 13. Like if we have to give up 13, they're not getting any other picks from me. If they, I'm willing to give up a first next year if we get the production out of it, but I don't think there's any other teams in on it. Like, why would we bid against ourselves? But I think I'm not in the league of like, oh, the Jets can lowball the Packers, but I think a second round this year and a first conditionally next year is fine. I think that's a fair offer.
Yeah, I'd say so.
That sounds about right. Andy Rodriguez, I'm terrified that he just retires. I'm not. I don't think he's going to want to leave the money on the table or share the stage with Tom Brady at the Hall of Fame ceremony. I think he's going to continue playing. What do you guys think?
Well, don't you think there's like that little panic in you that Brady does come back at some point this year and Rodgers sticks his nose up and says, I'm too good for this. I'm going to turn down $110 million and, you know, flip the bird to the Jets. They want me and I'm not going to do it. I'm not putting up with the stress. And maybe he does that. I hope that's not the case. But like, if there's a guy that could do it, I feel like Rodgers is like the prick that could.
He's that douche.
Yeah.
I feel the same way, man. I really do. I'm like, we're all positive, right? We're looking at things like imminent or on the brink, right? There's all these positive things coming out, but I can't help it. You know, we did it on my stream earlier, 95%, 97%. That's all great. I'm with you, but I can't help sharing.
In the little back of your mind.
You know, I'm a little nervous.
Yeah. Oh man, I don't blame you there. We got one from ABAT03. My son is 6. He's on his second Jets quarterback jersey. I've got the number 12 Rodgers jersey locked and loaded in kid small and 50 years of quarterback hell. Yeah. I mean, listen, I had a Darnold and Wilson jersey too. So I'm right there with you. I guess it depends on if he's going to be wearing the 12 or the number 8. If he's wearing the number 8, I just do the little old swap. So should we just stop buying jerseys? Is that really what the move is?
Safer, I'll tell you that, man. It is much safer. It's hard to buy a jersey anymore. It's funny, I didn't buy a jersey for a long time, and Jeremy went to that, you know, that Chinese site that like jerseys are like $40 or whatever they were. I forget what it's called, but he sent. What is it called?
DH-Gate. I have 4 of them sitting in the closet right now.
He sent me a Becton jersey, and I was like, right after we got him, like after his rookie year or something, I was like, all right, well, this is great, man. Right there. Never saw him again. It's just, I can't even have one in my presence. Fucking jersey. And they're going to go down. It's so alarming to buy jerseys these days. I mean, when's the last time you were able to buy a jersey and we had a player for more than 2 seasons, 3 seasons at the most? Like, it never happens anymore. It's crazy.
Dude, I bought the Sauce jersey just because I was like so gung-ho for Sauce, and his last name's Gardner. Becca's mom's maiden name's Gardner. So like I went all in for that. But like aside from that, I went with like Mangold. Like I want historic Jets at this point. I want to burn money every year. Yeah,
that's and plus the throwback is always cool to show up and you're like, oh, whose jersey is that? Oh, that's a nice throwback one. Ron says, as we sit and struggle over getting a quarterback, we see how precious life is otherwise. Shay. Yeah, this is true. Shay is a much needed distract. We're fighting for our lives over here, but Shay is just living her best life over here. Great.
She's playing with my goggles. That's like her go-to thing. If I have her like resting on my shoulder, my hat's always resting on the chair, so that's the first thing she grabs for.
Is she excited for St. Patrick's Day? She's got to be.
I think so.
Kind of fit, right?
I'm gonna kiss you because you're Irish.
Yeah, there you go.
When is St. Patrick's Day? What is it?
17th, same day every year.
Every year, I forget every year.
Yeah, I'm gonna be in Boston for St. Patrick's Day weekend.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah, me and my buddies are seeing the Dropkick Murphys. They're doing 2 shows at the theater next to Fenway Park, and we're going both nights. I am amped up. I'm ready to go.
That's grand.
That's awesome. They're a blast. I've never seen them, but that would be one that I'd want to see.
Oh yeah, they're fun.
Cannot wait.
Are you gonna drink?
Maybe a little bit. I'm gonna try to do my best behavior, but I have a bottle of Jameson I picked up for the hotel room, so we're gonna be ready to go with that at the bare minimum, and then whatever else happens.
Yeah, you got to do a little pregame action.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Ben says Sauce and Garrett Wilson are safe jerseys to buy, in my opinion. I would say that's pretty damn close to as safe as you can get right now, I would think.
Well, not if Coward is right. We're going to be trading our first and Sauce for a rookie quarterback.
Ryan and I were talking about that earlier. What do you think? Can you put any stock into that one, Green Bean?
Dude, I mean, is it still unclear to anyone that this guy in particular, they're all doing it, but this guy says things specifically to make people feel like, what the like that? There's no way that he thinks The Jets are giving up 13 and Sauce Gardner to move up to 4, in his words, to get a quarterback. It's so far from what's real that you can't look at it any other way. It's a what do you call it? It's like I don't want to say cash grab, but it's like it's an obvious like poke. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
To me.
100%. He's trying to rile people up and then play dumb and be like, "Oh, I didn't mean it like that. No, that wasn't what I was trying to do."
I know him in particular. It's like, again, lots of them do it, but he's like transparent to me. Like, it's too much, dude. Like the fact that this guy's even still out there. I don't know. It's crazy to me.
Yeah, I feel like I generally like a lot of the directions he goes with some of his topics, but that one seemed like totally off base. Like what do you think Sauce is worth? Agree me. What would not that we would trade Sauce. Matt and I were talking about this before, but like, what would you value Sauce at? Like,
yeah, well, look, right. He was clearly a top 5 pick last year, right? So that's where his value was. Now he's an all-star rookie of the year that has to add minimum another first-round pick. It has to. I would say 2 firsts without question for Sauce Gardner.
Yeah, well, I was saying before Adams was 2 firsts and a third. You'd have to imagine it's a hell of a lot more than that.
Yeah, well, the only thing is that Adams had the 2 All-Pros, right? One was a second-team All-Pro, but he was an All-Pro, and then he had his first-team All-Pro, and he was the MVP of the Pro Bowl too. So you got to remember that that was big. But I think that's the only thing that could counterweight it. But you're right. I mean, who's going to have more impact? The thing is, Jamal Adams did a really good job of kind of fooling the world into that he was the best safety in the league. I mean, it was really interesting. Not that he was a bad player. I'm not saying that. But he definitely, anytime that anybody would mention him or talk about the Jets, they would always talk about how great Jamal Adams is. And he never really did anything. Like Sauce impacted almost every single game he was in. Like at the end of the game, going for the last touchdown that would have won, it's against Sauce Gardner, and he's the one who nailed it down. He did that so many times throughout the season. It was like undeniable, his impact on the team and the game. Jamal was a little bit different. I think, like you said, Sauce has to be worth more than him.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think we fooled the league. I think that's what it was. Like Jamal was such a good hype man, and the Jets brought him in to change the culture. That was kind of his MO coming into the draft. And he had the flashy stats and the big, some big hits. But I feel like if you were a Jet fan, you were watching it and you were honest about what you were seeing, you were like, he can't really cover. He's not really that fast in coverage. Like, he's a great blitzing asset, but you're taking a safety off the field to rush the passer. So it doesn't really help you.
Yeah. It's very true. And then you would see there would be interceptions that, bounce off his chest. And it's like you said, the coverage was kind of subpar, and he never pulled in a pick other than garbage time, third string, second string quarterbacks. Yeah, right. And it's
Stanton, right? Were those the two? Or not Stanton.
No, it was Castle, I think, wasn't it?
There it is. No.
I think up in Detroit. It was Stidham in the Patriots. Who was the other guy?
It wasn't Castle. I know who you're talking about. It's the one I was trying to say, and it's not that either. It's
I can't even remember. It's crazy.
Yeah, it was a back at Stidham, and who's the one that got bounced around to all the different teams? Perennial backup. Was it Chase Daniels? Was that who it was?
Was the Eagle game?
I feel like that's right. I'm surprised the chat's not letting us know. I feel like they would jump out at us.
From Citybird, he sends a super chat. For some reason, Darnold's first game versus the Lions came up on my feed. Can you guys go over your memories of that game from the pick 6 and what you felt? I was miserable. I was pissed on that pick 6, and then a complete 180 of emotions the rest of the game as they balled out. They beat the crap out of the Lions on Monday Night Football.
They did.
Yeah. When that pick 6 happened, I saw butt fumble and jokes the rest of the way. I was like, this is going to be horrible. Yeah. We made a big mistake.
That wheel route, man. He was trying to hit Bilal on the wheel route. It was no good.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let me see. Hold on. I'm going to try to see it.
Green Bean doing
It's a bad clip. I have the play to see who the hell that quarterback is. I feel like it's Castle. First interception.
Castle's been out of the league a long time, though.
I know he has. It's been. I know. I'm feeling that too. Yum 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 yum. First interception. It doesn't say who. Come on, guys. Who's writing these articles?
Well, I think you're right. I think it was I feel like it was the Lions.
Matt Castle, dude.
Was it really?
Old and smart, baby.
No way.
That
Matt Castle. Yeah.
He was in the league in 2017 or 18 or whenever he would have gotten that pick.
Yeah, Matt Castle in the fourth quarter of the 48-17 win by the Jets on Monday Night Football. Yeah, Matt Castle.
there we go.
So right, like other than that, and like look, and even again, like when the guys are on our team, I can't help it. Like when they do something good or numbers, I do tend to want to inflate, right? You want to. Oh, he's great. You want to believe and all that stuff. But when you're honest, like even that year, the last year, he had 6.5 sacks. So he was about to break the record. Then he got injured the last 2 games of the season or something. But we were talking about him breaking the sack record for safeties with 6.5 sacks. The truth is 5 of those sacks came in 2 games against the worst 2 teams that we played, the Washington Redskins with Dwayne Haskins and the Giants with a rookie Daniel Jones. So that means he got 1.5 sacks the rest of the season. So again, it's if you're like when you're being honest and objective, you can see it. When you're not, you just look at the numbers and go, dude, he almost broke the record for sacks. I don't want to hear it. You know what I mean? But again, Sauce, very difficult. I know I understand Seahawks fans wanting to say that Sauce wasn't all that. I get that, and I know why, and I understand. But if you're real, Sauce is a dynamo, bro.
I'm with you. Let's go to Andy, who says, I watched Rodgers film this season. He's still Rodgers. I'm not concerned at all about him falling off. Still so much fun. Yeah, a big part of that, I think, has to do with the thumb injury. I don't think people are crediting that enough. It's you're trading for a 40-year-old quarterback. He's past his prime. The guy won 2 MVPs not that long ago. I don't know. I don't get that one at all.
I'm not gonna let me say Rodgers. Yeah, right. I agree. I mean, dude, and again, like what was his? What did he have? 3,700 yards, 3,800 yards last year. What was it again? You remember?
37, I believe.
Yeah, it was right around there. It was like what we were hoping to get out of Derek Carr.
Yeah, I mean, dude, if Zach came anywhere near that, we would not even be talking about moving on.
No.
That's how, and that's a dip for this guy. It's crazy.
It's a fall off. That's wild. Like whatever. I don't get that one, but that's what you're gonna get. Ron Weiss says, I hope we don't get the news while Ryan is holding Shay. Yeah. Bit of a dad he really is.
I've thought about that where I'm like, oh man, I can't just drop the kid. I can't throw my hands up.
Yeah. That's funny. Yeah, look, he also had 26 touchdowns and 12 picks last year. So more than 2-1. Any issues with that? Like, let's say he was 3,695 yards, 64.6% completion percentage, and 26 and 12. If that's all we get, are we unhappy?
I would say disappointed. I wouldn't say unhappy.
Maybe a little bit more. But I don't think it's anything like you would sign up for that. And that's like you said, a bad year.
Yeah, not to mention like if you have Rodgers throwing for that, you're probably expecting to run a lot anyway. And like I still believe the NFL is an any given Sunday league. And as long as I believe Rodgers can go toe-to-toe with a Mahomes, a Burrow, a Herbert, or something like that, like he doesn't have to have crazy stats. He just has to be able to go off on those games. Like the stats are almost irrelevant to me.
Yeah, it's a good point.
I'm with you. We have a special guest joining us. Well, 2, if we want to get technical, 2 special guests about to join us over here. Let's add him into the stream. Tigo.
Hey, 4 kids. Wow. It's amazing.
How's it going, Tigo?
Pretty good. You know, dealing with baby stuff on the Aaron Rodgers watch like everybody else. I just saw Shay on and I was just like, oh, Ben's here. I can go get him. Let me hop on real quick. Say hi.
the baby hour.
Yeah.
When does Ben think Aaron Rodgers is going to be a Jet?
Tomorrow at 12:06.
12:06. Okay, very, very specific, but I like that. I love the optimism there. I hope it can't go. We've been talking about it, Tigo. It can't go past tomorrow, right? No. This has to get figured out tomorrow.
The real thing is, I think the deal is kind of already I think Rodgers has let the Jets and Green Bay know that he wants to come to the Jets. And what's happening right now is the discussion of what the trade compensation is going to be. Because I think a lot of people thought, oh, they must have had the trade in place, right? Why would I don't think that was ever true. I think Green Bay, it's in their best interest for Aaron Rodgers to want to come back and play, but to want to come back and play for a different team. It's in the Jets' best interest for Aaron Rodgers to want the Jets. So it's just one of those things where it was like, I think they let him talk and they said, hey, we'll work out on trade afterwards. Go convince him to become a New York Jet because we can't have him on our team and we can't have him retire because $100 million is hard to come back from.
That's right. I'm with you. I'm with you on that. Green Bean, I know Green Bean's got to duck out of here. I want to thank you for hopping on.
Yeah. This
today.
is great. Thank you for having me. And I'm glad I stuck it around long enough to see Ben, in addition to our beloved Shay. This is awesome. I love it.
We love it. We got the full crew. Make sure to tune into Green Bean's live stream later tonight. He'll be on at 8:00 I'm sure the watch will be continuing on at that point.
Totally.
Green Bean over at 8:00.
Totally. All right, guys. Have a great rest of the day. I'll see you later.
All right. See you.
Take it easy, dude. I think it's going to be, you know what? If Rodgers is a real son of a bitch, like I think he might be, it could be like announcing at 12:12 on Sunday the 12th that he's coming to the Jets and wearing number 12, and it's just like numbers on numbers all day.
I love it. We got a super chat from Brian in here. He says, want to talk about old age and fall off. The Patriots are making their highest draft selection since 1991 next month. For shame, Belichick. The beginning of the end of the New England Patriots. Is it here? We'll go. Ryan, what do you think?
Yeah, I hope so. I don't trust Mac Jones at all. I think he's a dirty player. I don't think he's a very good player. And I hope we sweep them.
I love Zigo. What's your thoughts on New England and their future?
If Mac Jones is under center, as long as Mac Jones and or Bailey Zappi is under center, I have no fear of them. Like, I was talking with, I don't remember who it was, but we were talking about the Patriots and we were talking about show me another team that's like one position group and a quarterback away that's not named the Jets, and I would select the Patriots because they're just like, they get two wide receivers and a quarterback that can throw the ball. Boom, they're competitive again. Like, and an offensive coordinator, obviously, but they have Bill O'Brien now. So it's just one of those things where it's just like, I totally look at it and I go, as long as Mac Jones or Bailey Zappi is there, I'm not worried about that team at all. As long as we have Sauce and DJ in that defense, that offense isn't going to do anything that scares me.
Yeah, I'm with you. I don't really put much stock into them this year at all either. But Ryan, I know you're saying you got to hop out too. Thank you to you and Shay for joining us this lovely afternoon. Thank you for sticking with me for Aaron Rodgers Watch. Any final words from Ryan or Shay?
Just taking my filter off. Hopefully we get the news tonight. Can't wait. I'm excited. Thank you so much for having us on. See ya.
Bye, guys. All right. And then there were two. Yeah, I think it's finally just about that time for the Jets to take that next step. And then maybe, just maybe, New England's are dropping down a little bit. I love it.
I think New England is clearly the worst team in the AFC East. Like, my thing is I think they're clearly the worst team in the AFC East, even if the Jets don't get Rodgers. Like, if we end up with I can't believe I'm about to say this, like a Jimmy G or something like that, like, how are they going to stop us?
Yeah.
Like,
I don't know. I don't think they have enough, which is crazy because like this is a team you haven't beaten since 2015. They've owned you for years and years and years. At a bare minimum, that has to end.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it does. Like, again, it's one of those things where I think whatever quarterback we end up getting, whether it's, and I'm just gonna, when we get Aaron Rodgers, like Aaron Rodgers isn't scared of Bill Belichick. You know what I mean? Like, he doesn't care about Bill and that defense at all, in the sense of like, oh, it's the great, like there was a lot of that this year where we were still, I don't know if you remember, right? Like during the season, we were still like big believers in Zach going into that New England game. And we're like, we should win this game because we absolutely should have. We were the better team. And it's one of those things that, like, for a rookie, a guy like, not a rookie, but like a second year guy like Zach,
looking at one of the greatest head coaches of all time scheming against you specifically, that's a really, really intimidating thing to stare down the barrel of, as a guy whose entire focus for the week has been, how do I stop you? Where Aaron Rodgers is going to be like, dude, you can do whatever you want to try to stop me. You can't. I'm Aaron freaking Rodgers. I'm the best thrower of the football this league has ever seen. And I am a top, 5 quarterback of all time. You're not going to do anything to stop me with this team around me. So it's a different mentality that goes into that game.
This Tyler character says, be careful. Rodgers barely escaped Bailey Zappi last year. Are we, does that change your opinion at all about New England versus Green Bay last year?
What did Green Bay have? A broken offensive line and not a number 1 wide receiver?
And a broken Aaron Rodgers. He was playing with
literally.
Yeah, a broken thumb.
And a different LaFleur, right? Who still doesn't know how to run the ball effectively.
Yes. Or run a 2-minute drill.
Yeah, or how to successfully run an offense in the red zone. It's all of the LaFleurs seem to have that problem where it's just like, you know what? Red zone, no idea how to handle that. Running the ball, what's that?
No, they don't know. It's a great. Ben says, will Lawson get cut / will we add a pass rusher? I kind of think, while cutting Lawson and freeing up the $15 million in theory makes sense, because one, that's $15 million you could use, and then that's more reps to Jermaine Johnson and Bryce Huff and guys like that. It also kind of feels like the Jets are due for a restructure. They're kind of operating, it feels like to me anyway, they're operating with him going to be around here for the next little bit. What do you think?
I don't know. With Carl Lawson, it sucks because there's no right answer, right? If you extend him so that you can lower his number and keep him around for a couple of years, I'll be happy. But that's a lot of money going to a position where we're pretty deep at, in the sense of edge. And then if you cut him, you have to understand that if you cut him, that whatever team he's going to go to, he's going to explode on, And so I tend to lean more of save the money and bring in an interior defensive lineman and then draft an edge in the 3rd or the 4th round, because I don't think necessarily we need the replacement on the top end which is what Carl Lawson is. I think we need to replace on the bottom end, because I hope everybody takes a step up.
Yeah. That'd be awesome to see those guys take the next step here. Something else that we're seeing in the chat here. Where was it? It's too many. It just jumped away. I apologize. It had to do with teams calling for Dalvin Cook, and while Dalvin Cook isn't much of a interest to me, supposedly Adam Thielen might be available. So you're shaking your head. Is that someone that you would target?
Okay, this is purely selfish reasons. Has nothing to do with Adam Thielen. Legitimately might be my favorite non-Jet who's also not a quarterback.
Okay.
Because I love Patrick Mahomes, because who doesn't love Patrick Mahomes, right? That dude he's that dude, right? But Adam Thielen might be one of my favorite, just non-Jet players. And if you're telling me that I could get an Adam Thielen 19 Gotham Green jersey, I would sign me up. But I don't know how realistic that is. Adam Thielen is in the twilight of his career, might be ring chasing, might be in a situation where if Aaron Rodgers comes, he'll take a really stupid cheap deal to come here. But that's one of those things of it has nothing to do with the player, in the sense of on-field production, and everything to do with the person. I just love Adam Thielen. And if you're telling me I can get an Adam Thielen jersey and it be real, I would love it.
Yeah, I mean, last year, 17 games, he had 716 yards and 6 touchdowns. The year prior, in 13 games, 726 and 10 touchdowns. So obviously one of Kirk Cousins' favorite weapons over there, and thrived with Justin Jefferson. But I think we're all kind of assuming Corey Davis is going to get cut. So the Jets would then need to bring in another starting caliber wide receiver, and I'm good with a veteran mover. Are you kind of in that same boat? Are you operating under the assumption that Corey Davis is a goner here?
No.
Okay.
No. My thing is that contract, man. It's just too good. That's the real thing, is how do you move on from a guy who, yes, you can't stay healthy and he has that problem, but very clearly from the guys that we have in the team is going to take a step back. He's not wide receiver 1 anymore. In my eyes, he's not even wide receiver 2. The way that I look at it.
Uh-oh.
No, he just grabbed a bottle and it fell from his hands and he got upset. So I look at it and I go, it's hard to because what are you going to replace him with? That's the real question. If you get rid of Corey Davis and you just cut Braxton Berrios, then 13 looks like a wide receiver in my eyes. Because what are you going to replace him with? His wide receiver classes in free agency is not good. And every single one of these guys is going to want $13 to $16 million. Why would you get rid of that when you have Corey Davis at 10?
The issue with Corey is the injuries. He missed 8 games in 21 and then another 4 games last year. That's been the MO for most of his career. He played a full season once. His second year in the league, he had 16 game season. When he's healthy, he's solid, but between health, penalties and drops, I think they move on here, but I get it. For 10 million or 10 and a half, whatever it is, for a number 2-ish wide receiver is pretty good value. And when you consider guys like Lazard and Jacoby Myers are probably going to be getting much more than that, but availability is a big factor in this too, for me at least.
Oh yeah. It's just the depth aspect of it. Even if you say unconfidently say that he's wide receiver 4, and I don't think he is on this team, but let's just say unconfident you say he's wide receiver 4. Like that's still a really good high-end wide receiver 4. Like if you say we're going to give Denzel Mims this opportunity to overtake him and he's going to hopefully step up under Hackett and all those things, having a guy like him with a lowered snap count, I think might help with the injury kind of thing. It's the Quan Alexander bit. I was anti-Quan at the beginning of the season because of the injuries. Well, when you lowered his snap percentage down from the 90-ish% that he was doing every time he got hurt down to the 30 or 40 that he was at with the Jets, he didn't get hurt. He played all year. What happens if you do the same thing with Corey? What if your 1-2 is Elijah Moore and Garrett Wilson?
Yeah,
he agrees.
he does agree. Apparently there was one in here saying that Modine said the baby knows no to Rodgers when he's crying before, but I don't. I mean, what percentage? We asked Ryan and Greenbean before. What would you put the percentage at that Rodgers is a Jet by the end of the week?
Oh, 99.8%. Something drastic has to happen. And apparently the chat is right here. I did not see this report and I'm late to it. Apparently the trade compensation has been agreed upon and we're just waiting for Rodgers. That surprises me. But if that's the truth, if the trade compensation has been agreed upon and we're just waiting for Rodgers is a Jet. Because that would be the nail in the coffin. Just think of it as if you're Rodgers, right? Green Bay has publicly come out and said they don't want you to start. There were reports that came out that if you came back, you would be benched behind Jordan Love. I don't know how much of that is true, but that report came out. And all of these things and all these conversations, I'm just like, dude, that's the nail in the coffin for me. If I'm Aaron Rodgers, I'm gone. I'm going to go to a place that's going to revere me, that's going to love me, that actually wants me. And then, if I do the thing there, I go down, not just as one of the best throwers of the football, but as a legend because I won in New York, which is one of the hardest things to do.
Yeah, I think that only adds to his legacy. And people say, well, does he want to follow in the footsteps of Brett Favre, who went to the Jets after, Green Bay 15 years later? But him being able to do what Favre wasn't, which would be win here, that matters. And him only having one ring, I don't think that should be considered a slight because of how hard it is to win in this league. But so many people say, oh, Aaron Rodgers only has one ring. Well, getting that second one, ask Peyton Manning how important it was to go to Denver to get that second one, right? Or even Brady had $1 million with New England, but him going to somewhere else and winning without Bill Belichick was also huge for his legacy. So this stuff matters. He still has stuff to prove.
Yep.
100%.
It's a massive, massive part of the conversation is the legacy side of it. You know, these guys at this point in their careers, they don't necessarily care about, oh, it's going to look great or whatever. No. Like, they care about their legacy. And it's one of the reasons why retiring is not an option. He doesn't want to be a guest at Tom Brady's Hall of Fame induction. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, he's not going to share the stage with Brady up there. Come on now.
of course not.
Do you think Brady's going to come back and play this year? I know that Rich Eisen was saying it, but then Brady had the I don't know if you saw it, the tweet.
The cat tweet.
I got a cat. Yeah, I can't come back. I got a cat. Do you think he comes back?
I think it would really, like, another Tampa Bay would have to appear. You know what I mean? In the sense of, like, this is a team that is totally ready to win right now. They're missing one or two pieces, and the addition of me would facilitate that addition of those two pieces. And, like, here's the thing, right? In my eyes, there's only two teams that come to mind that are, like, maybe an elite quarterback away from winning, and that is that is the New York Jets. And I don't think we're going to go get Aaron Rodgers. And then, like, ironically, would be like the Patriots. Because if the Patriots get a wide receiver, they've got that defense. They've got, like, if they trade for D-Hop, you add Tom Brady, that's a really solid team. That's a hard team to beat with Tom Brady under there again. But he's not going back to New England. And then I look at the rest of the league. It's just like, he's not going to deal with Dan Schneider in Washington, which would be a interesting place to go. Like, where's the matchup? Where's the match made in heaven? He's not coming back just to play again. He's coming for a ring chase. I don't know what team is going to give him that. So I agree with Explosive Diarrhea. Zero chance Brady comes back.
Great name, by the way.
Fantastic.
Zero chance Brady comes back. I'm with you. I don't think he does either. I think he's done for real. He had that, the emotional goodbye the first time, then comes back. I don't think he's going to do it again. I don't think that's going to be the case. But yeah, it's kind of just refresh, and I'm sure you're doing the same thing at your house, just refreshing, waiting for this thing to come through. But now with the trade compensation agreed to with the Packers and the Jets, that's the big thing. You're just waiting on Rodgers to finally make his decision. Unfortunately for us and for Jet fans and the whole NFL world, this guy likes to take his time. I just don't know how much time he really has left with the legal tampering period set to start up on Monday.
Like, again, I think it's not going to be a thing. Like, he really has to, and I respect this kind of process that he goes through, which is like sitting there and really, really, like, digesting the things, because, like, this is a big move for his career, because he could be the guy that just stayed in Green Bay his whole career, ran it out with one team. Very few guys do that, especially at the quarterback position. How important is it to run out your career with one team? And if you leave for another team and it doesn't work out, that's such a bad look on your legacy. What would have happened to Peyton Manning if he goes to Denver and it doesn't work? We would have been like, man, he's a great Colt. But then those Denver years, it's the conversation of the Michael Jordan when he went to the Wizards.
Yep.
Like, it's just like the Wizard years. Like, you could have just been a Bull forever, and then the Wizards, and there's that kind of aspect of it. Like, what happens if you go and it doesn't work? What happens if Brady goes to the Bucks and it's just like, yeah, at the end there, he just went to the Bucks just to get his paycheck and all of that stuff. That just didn't work out. That was just sad and disappointing. You could see the same thing happening, or the same conversation happening with Aaron Rodgers if it comes to New York and it doesn't work. There's a lot there.
Yeah, absolutely. I like this one from Wild Track. He says, final prediction on the trade comp. We'll start. What do you think it's going to end up costing?
I've gone back and forth with this, and I think the deal is a brushed up version of the Favre deal. I think it's a second round pick this year, and then a fourth round pick in 2024. And it's a conditional fourth. It turns into a third if he is on the roster. It turns into a second if he plays 70% of the snaps, and it turns into a first if he plays 80% of the snaps and we make the Super Bowl. And I think that's more than fair. I think that makes a lot of good sense for both teams, and it gives the Jets an opportunity to load up still this year by having 13, and then really going all in on free agency and all that stuff, especially because next year's cap situation for us is insanely good. We can load up and load up and load up. And then next year's one in 2024, like who cares? Hopefully that'll be in the mid 20s and we'll be fine.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at too. So for a while now, I've been saying I don't think it's going to take pick 13. I think a second this year, a conditional pick next year, something like a first if they, reach the Super Bowl, or if he's on the roster by the start of the new league year next year, or even if it is one and done and he retires, I still think it'll be, a pick going there next year, but maybe it's like a third or something like that. But a second this year, and then somewhere between a first, second, or third, depending on, whatever circumstance you want to set it up. You want to set it up to going to the Super Bowl, conference championship, X amount of snaps, whatever. I don't think there's going to be any players involved. I know that's something that some people have floated the idea out there. We laughed at Colin Cowherd, who mentioned Sauce Gardner, which is just hilarious. But I don't even think you're going to see like a Bryce Hall or something like that going back that way.
No, I think it's not in the best interest of the Green Bay Packers to take on a player. Like, that's the way that I look at it. Like, you need a reset, because let's say Jordan Love does go out there and he balls out. Like, what is he really going to be able to ask for in a contract? Like, at least like with Danny Dimes, we had a couple of years of wishy-washy play, and then Dable comes in and he's legit. We don't even have a couple of years of wishy. We would have 1 year of what I assume is going to be semi-decent play from Jordan Love. So you're probably going to be able to you're going to be able to get him on like a 3-year deal-ish.
Mhm.
Oops. What was that? Oh, he saw Aaron Rodgers pop up on the timeline and he was like, what's happening? And so that's the way that I look at it. And I go, why would you want to take on a contract?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why you would.
Like, maybe if it's one of the young guys, but like, does Jeremy Ruckert or like Max Mitchell, which are the two guys that I think would be like the names that they would ask for, do they really move the needle if that means that you're going to lose? Like what if they say, okay, we really want Jeremy Ruckert because we desperately need a tight end. And then they go, okay, but now that second becomes a third. Is that really worth it? When you can just get a tight end in the first round that's going to be better than what Jeremy Ruckert is right now?
Yeah, I'm with you. I wouldn't do it that way either. I don't really think it makes a whole lot of sense for them to do it like that. Let's see. Who else do we have in here? Corey says, think Rodgers may be holding out for possible other teams, ? If you think maybe, does that cause a question about his dedication? I don't, what other team is going to get in the mix here? The Raiders have already said that they're out on it. Tennessee's bringing back Ryan Tannehill. It's pretty much the Jets or retire, it feels like. I don't even think going back to Green Bay is really that realistic of a chance right now.
I don't think that's an option. Like, my thing is okay, let's say he is waiting out for another team, right? Packers have already said that they're not sending him to an NFC team. That's 15 teams gone. 16 if you count the Green Bay Packers, because they're not going to let him really play because they don't want him to play. So then you got 15 other teams. What team in the AFC that needs a quarterback is in a better situation than the New York Jets right now and is in on Aaron Rodgers or in on a quarterback, period? The only other name is Miami, and the Jets have a better pick than Miami.
Yeah. And Miami would need. Oh, well, that's true. But can the Miami even get that to work, do you think?
This, as the moment Derek Carr signed with the Saints and that salary cap situation, and now the Chargers are keeping Keenan Allen and Mike Williams, and
True.
just watch them keep Corey Linsley too for somehow and make it happen. Like the salary cap is fake. They could figure out a way to make it work, right? But it's one of those things where it's just like, okay, I understand the appeal offensively of wanting to go to Miami, right? Tyreek Hill is there. Jalen Waddle is there. Those are two legitimate guys, but that defense is horrible.
It is.
They have two guys that are worth naming, and that's I forget the cornerback name, Xavier Howard, who didn't have a good year last year, and then Bradley Chubb. That's it. Yeah. Only two guys on that defense that are worth mentioning or talking about. Like, it's you're staring down the barrel of, yes, you can have probably the number 2 wide receiver in the NFL in Tyreek Hill, and that's super appealing. And Jalen Waddle, who was another top 10 wide receiver. But are you really going to pass that up for what could arguably be, if depending on the right moves, the number 1 defense in the NFL next year? According to DVOA, we were 2 this year. We were behind only the Eagles. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm with you. We'll see if anything happens there. I'm gonna start getting ready to wrap this up, Tigo. So I'm gonna thank
I got
you
baby.
for
You can
coming.
see my foot. I'm
Yeah.
trying to mount my desk right now.
Thank you for coming on, Tigo. I'm gonna get ready to get on out of here, but just wanted to thank you. Make sure to follow along with him as well. So we say goodbye to Tigo and we get ready to wrap this one up here today. It was a fun one. We had a couple of guests. We had Tigo pop on, we had Ryan and Green Bean come on as well. But yeah, it was just another day, another refresh day. Kind of wanted to do this for a little bit and see. Nothing really new. Nothing new is coming out. It wasn't like we had the video and the reports yesterday and the day before. So I was glad that we were able to get the guests on today. That made it fun. Dom C, what's up? Tigo and O'Leary, a perfect blend. Things you love to see. Modine thinks the trade's going to be announced on Monday. I think it's going to be before then, dude. I really do. And Ron Perry says Sunday. Hopefully it's before then, but that's going to do it for me today on the live stream. Thank you so much for hanging out. If news breaks, I'll pop back on, but that's going to do it. Other than that, appreciate the support. Go Jets, baby. Jets.